What it is, you guys, it is your girl Cadillac. Yes, I'm Cadillac Dixon. I'm the drama life prison wife. I'm the legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice. Hoping, because you got to hold your breath for justice. To see justice before all face too black. Yes, it's your girl Cadillac. Anyways, guys, I'm coming through. November the 3rd, 2025. Girl, anytime I slack up, quickly another wrongful case. I didn't say wrongful conviction because this one is a wrongful arrest, but it's still wrongful. And I tell y'all how this happens all the time. And I try to get you guys to actually care about wrongful convictions, which the more you are aware, I would hope the more you would care, girl. That Ron I wasn't trying. Well, I was trying that time. But many times as I tell these stories, girl, people tell me that I'm just making it up. I'm just making excuses. Y'all know I tell stories of wrongful convictions. It started with my husband's wrongful conviction, and on my way of advocating for him, I started realizing that these things are happening often, and it's because of the same practices. The same practices giving the same results, right? So I advocate for reform. Reform means to do this a whole different way, or let's make some changes because the way you're doing it is getting wrong results, right? All the wrongful convictions I have covered stem basically, if you break them down, they're the same story, the same things, the same components, the same situations that gave the same wrongful conviction result. So we've got to change the way that these things are done. And when I advocate, people don't care because they say, I'm not a criminal. That's for those criminals. Like, I literally don't even have to bother myself with this because I'm not a criminal. And here it is, another innocent person. Innocent means committed no crime. Usually someone with no background. This time, it is a grandmother. A 49-year-old grandmother arrested wrongfully in front of her grandchild. How much more innocent can you get? And people say, oh, just don't commit crimes. Well, she didn't commit a crime, as all the other innocent people did not commit crimes, but they're still very much doing time in these prisons that we don't care about, right? Because we don't care if they're in sweltering heat. Now it just got cold, so now they're finna be freezing their behinds off. But we don't care about that. And allegedly, let's go back to when we just asked, can our loved ones have for human food allegedly to eat? And not something that's labeled, the labels that they were saying were not for human consumption, allegedly, for cattle feed, and also for institutional use only, allegedly. Can we just have some regular human food, regular nutrition? We're not asking for Cheesecake Factory, like I said, but regular food that they can maintain their health the best that they can while they are in their care so that they can make it back home to their families, right? Turn a blind eye and we don't care. Not realizing you have a very good chance of being incarcerated wrongfully. I would say, my opinion, you got a better chance of being wrongfully arrested and wrongfully convicted. Don't think just because, oh, I was wrongfully arrested, they're going to get down to the bottom of it. They're going to figure out the truth. You have a better chance of being wrongfully arrested and convicted than winning the lottery. Literally was finna chill for the day, finished watching the last 2 episodes of She the People that I was watching, or Miss Governor, and call it a night, right? I was going to journal and all of that. And as soon as I plug my phone up, I see this story. So we're going to cover this story about a grandmother wrongfully arrested and wrongfully incarcerated. She was incarcerated in jail for like 3 days. Excuse me if you hear the rumble of my car, because I have to turn it on to be able to play the video. But here we go.
A black grandmother arrested for a crime she never committed, wrong identity, and the person the cops were looking for, not even the same race, not the same age. I first saw this story by it was done by a legendary reporter in Atlanta named Tom Jones. Tom happens to be a very good friend and is one of the most remarkable journalists in the business. Put her up full mass. What I'm about to tell you is an extreme story about...
I will link this video so that you can watch it in the description box below.
Black woman with the same name jailed after being mistaken for a white woman. Story by it was done by a legendary reporter in Atlanta named Tom Jones. Tom happens to be a very good friend and is one of the most remarkable journalists in the business. Put her up full mass. What I'm about to tell you is an extreme story about accusing the wrong person. An innocent black grandmother was jailed after being mistaken for a white woman. The attorney said the black woman wrongfully jailed for charges these charges were meant for a woman with the same name but a different race. In Cherokee County, Georgia, law enforcement was looking for a white woman named Nikki Sledge from Kentucky, but instead arrested a black woman with the same name from Georgia. This is according to the attorney. The 49-year-old...
Different state, different ethnicity, but yet we're going to go ahead and arrest.
...is expected to follow...
This is what y'all like to say. They're just doing their job. So they're going to go ahead and just do their job. How do you call it doing your job when you're not doing it correctly? I think that's like one of the only professions where you can literally do the jankiest job and people will still consider you doing the job. I know if I was not carrying them sandwiches to the table correctly, if I was mixing them up, giving people that are allergic to certain things, certain foods, baby, I would not have that job too long. They would not be saying, well, she was just doing her job, right? They wouldn't care, even though I am legally blind. And if I did give the wrong food, which I don't, but let's say I accidentally gave someone something with an allergen, you don't think they would come after me? They would not say, no, she was doing her job. Like, for real.
According to the attorney, the 49-year-old is expected to file a lawsuit against Cherokee County Sheriff's Office claiming she was wrongfully arrested and jailed, according to her attorneys. The legal system claims the legal team...
Now, what if every person that was wrongfully arrested, jailed, convicted, wrongfully put in prison, what if each and every last one of them could actually sue? Baby, that would be, it's gonna hurt your pockets, because guess who fits the bill? Yes, you got it. You fit the bill. You pay for wrongful arrests. allegedly, and wrongful convictions. And you're so happy to pay for them because when I try to allegedly tell you that this is where our collective tax dollars are going, rather than to food stamps to feed families and single mothers because their husbands were taken from them and put in prison wrongfully. Oh, I'm sorry, that's my story. But y'all say, no, y'all agree with this, but y'all are the ones that are fitting. Well, we are the ones allegedly fitting the bill when they get these things wrong, right? Tax dollars are being used allegedly to house people that committed no crime, to allegedly house them inhumanely, right? Instead of, prisons and jails in this country allegedly are to critical capacity. And they were saying they may have to let some people go. But no, they had a brilliant plan. Let's make a megaplex prison, allegedly. And if they build it, they gonna fill it, girl. But they were saying they might have to let some people go because there's no space. It's to critical capacity. They cannot functionally run these facilities with as many people that are massively incarcerated, allegedly, right? But let's say you let the people that should not be there. You've had Marcello Jackson wrongfully in your prison for 23, almost 24 years, come April. Baby, clear his spot out and all the other wrongfully incarcerated people. And then you would have those spots and those resources for the people that did commit crimes. And then you still need to reform because you need to have them to be rehabilitated by the time they're exiting prison, rather than putting them on a perpetual cycle to return back. And the way they will return back, if not parole violations. But see, Florida don't have parole, so they're not returning back on parole violations. They're returning back usually for, they will have, most of them do have violations and stuff like that. So they could return back for probation violations, but most will return back allegedly for committing new crimes against people in the community, in the same society, right, that they left. That means more crimes against you guys, you innocent people. That's why we really should care. Not only could it be an innocent person in there, but when they don't rehabilitate, it's making the community unsafer. So you're using a thing that's for public safety to allegedly make the public unsafe. Like, the misuse of it makes it unsafe, right? So we really need to get to reform. I don't know what story to tell y'all to start making y'all care. Maybe one day you just have to find yourself in there to care, but we don't have time to wait on that. We need this change. We really need so much of this change. And it's so bad. It's like if you had an old rundown building and you were trying to open a new business in the building, and instead of wanting to renovate the whole building because literally it's all falling apart, your foundation is bad. The foundation is bad. Your plumbing is horrible. There's a lot of shit in there, allegedly. Little ish happening in there. Your roof is leaking. Like, nothing in this property is good. But instead of wanting to renovate the whole property, or maybe just tear it all the way down, you might do better to demolish the building and rebuild a brand new structure. But imagine wanting to not do anything. Just keep patching, keep unclogging, that's what they are doing. And you can imagine it gets worse and worse over time. I'm sorry, we're 15 minutes in and I have not started the video. So now we got to play it through. I'm sorry. I will try not to chime in.
The legal team, claims law enforcement officers were actually looking for a 43-year-old, Nikki Sledge, a white woman from Kentucky, but ended up arresting Nikki Sledge, 49, of Canton, Georgia. I want you to notice the Nikki Sledge,
Spelled
a white woman from Kentucky,
different age,
but ended
different
up
race.
arresting Nikki.
None of that was red flags.
Sledge, 49, of Canton, Georgia. I want you to notice the different spelling of the first name, also the difference in the age, and there's a difference in race. Despite the difference,
the last name is spelled
Sledge
correctly.
of Georgia was still taken into custody on December 21st, 2024. We're talking about a few
The last names are spelled the same, but the first name, Nikki, is spelled differently. The ages are different, and the ethnicities are different. But yet they say, oh, it's a go. Girl.
Before Christmas. This happened in front of her grandson, and she was charged with 2 counts of abuse, neglect, and exploitation of a disabled or elderly person, her attorney claims. Now, you're already being falsely arrested. You're being arrested in front of your grandson. It's during Christmas. I'm bringing all this up to say, if there are anomalies, if you have differences in the data, you're a cop, you're a detective, you're an investigator. Age doesn't match up. Race doesn't match up. City or state of origin doesn't match up.
Most of these wrongful conviction cases, you cannot make the puzzle pieces fit. They don't. But what they do is they arrest and then they make it fit. They force fit the pieces together. And then somehow they get a conviction. They literally get a conviction. Because here you could tell they did no investigation. They just said, oh, same name, let's go arrest her. Not even in the same state. Like, that doesn't even make sense. But kind of that happened to me with my identity theft, where I was living in Florida, Orlando, Florida, and the person that stole my identity was living in Georgia, like mid-Georgia, not even South Georgia, right? And they were involved in a traffic violation. They were doing all these different things, got a Georgia license under my name, had traffic violations, got in an accident, everything. And they were still trying to tie it to me, who lived in Orlando, Florida, and was working, had work records in Orlando, Florida, and had that I was in school. I was in cosmetology school at the time, and they still were trying to pin all of that on me. And matter of fact, when my license got revoked, they not only revoked that fraudulent Georgia ID, they revoked my license in Florida too. Like, that don't give you no type of clue. Like, do we need Blue's Clues? He probably could solve or Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo probably be right on it. He'll be for real. He'll get the right person. But they can't even beat Scooby-Doo and Blue's Clues. They, like, literally. Investigative process, I can't believe it's that thorough. Like how they show us these, like I said, I like ID channel. Girl, I don't think they investigations, my opinion, are that in-depth, because a lot of these wrongful convictions, and this one didn't end in conviction, thank God, but it could. It really could. Just like the nurse that was arrested going on vacation and she was arrested, wrongfully arrested, missed her vacation, right? It can happen to any of us. All it takes is for one, I'm gonna call it mistake, but it's really not mistake, because they're doing purposeful mistakes, right? And it's because of bad practice, and it's because they automatically get a goal. They get when they say you did it, it's kind of, we're not going to back check them. We're not going to oversee them. No oversight, no nothing. Just, they wouldn't, we take their word. They wouldn't do nothing wrong. They're upstanding, sit on top of God's lap. And then they're making these type of life-changing, life-altering mistakes, if you want to call it that.
Doesn't match up. So let's see if other things match up. Before we book this woman, a few days before Christmas, there's more.
I don't think they do that much due diligence. With some people. Some people they will. Some people they won't. I told you there's a 2-tier system.
Report.
Allegedly.
This came from the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office, provided by the attorneys. The victim in this case was the grandfather of Nikki Sledge's husband. Warrants for him and his wife list a Kentucky address. It's on the warrant. The report indicated that images and a video still of the two suspects show the accused individuals. It also mentions that the witness, a longtime partner of the victim, said the couple had left Georgia and were living in, Kentucky. The Georgia woman, who claimed she was wrongly arrested, was booked into the Rockdale County Jail and strip searched before she was taken to the Cherokee County Detention Center. While in Cherokee County, she was strip searched again.
Oh, wow.
Searched again and held for 3 days, according.
And that strip searching, that is very degrading, allegedly. Our loved ones have to go through it all the time. Just to come to visitation, you're being strip searched. And just listen to them tell that process. But I also was strip searched. Just going to see my husband, I was strip searched. And that was done illegally. It wasn't done correctly at all. Not by protocol, not by any of that. And it was done to degrade me. And I was strip searched on that time of the month. I do got that story time in the description box. It was so humiliating, and it almost made me say I will never visit my husband as long as he's incarcerated wrongfully, which would have been another 15 more years or so. Well, more than 15 years. That happened in like 2017 or 18. But it is so humiliating.
And held for 3 days, according to attorneys. Held for 3 days. So let's get this right. December 21st.
Held for 23 years. But even one day is too much when you don't deserve it. When you're wrongfully arrested and wrongfully incarcerated.
22nd, 23rd, 24th. Put him up for a mass. My dear brother and a close personal friend, attorney Harry Daniels. We worked with Harry on multiple cases. We've had him on the show as well. Harry Daniels, Sledge's attorney, said her charges were dismissed in February 2025. The release from Nikki Sledge's legal team states she suffered a nightmare ordeal where she was humiliated, falsely arrested, incarcerated, and had her mugshot plastered across social media. Quote, this is a person that has no criminal record. She's a hard worker.
As many wrongful incarcerated people have zero record. Before Marcello's wrongful incarceration with his horrible jacket, he had no arrests, no priors. Even though they tried to mislead the jury to believing he had priors. He had no priors.
tax-paying citizen, a law-abiding citizen. And all of a sudden, on a good day, happy day, spending time with your grandchild, you get arrested.
Wow.
You get taken away, ripped. Said Daniels, your freedom of liberty is taken away.
And then
all
what
because
happened to
somebody
the
did not do their job.
grandbaby if it's a baby and the children are in the grandmother's care? Like, I could just imagine, because it's times I have my grandchild, and could I imagine that? Well, girl, you got to be able to imagine it, because it can happen. These things do happen. But just to put yourself in that spot and visualize it being that it's happening to you.
11 Alive News reached out to Cherokee County Sheriff's Office for a statement regarding the possibility of a lawsuit filing. Quote, we only recently became aware of this matter through media inquiries. At this time, we have not.
The problem would be trying to find someone when these injustices do happen. Now, because it's light on it, a lot of people will run to the light and try to assist you. But if it was an underground case and nobody knew this happened to her and it wasn't broken on social media, and she was somewhat like Marcello Jackson, who nobody knows even exists and refused to believe he's wrongfully incarcerated, she would have a hard time trying to go against this alleged system, right? But because there are people that are going to be trying to make their names off of and build up their work record, their jackets and stuff, they may jump in to assist her. But the average person would have a ordeal, I can imagine, trying to bring that lawsuit. That even happens in negligence cases, dealing with alleged like healthcare negligence. They don't just step in to help. Many people would tell you, look, we can't defend you. Even with my slip and fall, because just because it's criminal and then it's not criminal lawsuits, all of the courts allegedly, they all, but it was people that would not take my case just because of who the company was, right? So taking a case going against this system, if it ain't no spotlight for you, I don't know that they would be doing it. So it would be challenging.
I received any communication from Ms. Sledge or her attorney, nor have we been served with any civil papers related to this incident. However, we take this matter very seriously and are actively reviewing the situation to understand what occurred. I can assure you, Cherokee County, that letter is coming.
All right.
It will be a notice to sue, okay, which is required.
I'm sorry. I don't know how I didn't do this, but this is from Indisputable TVT.
A law before they file an actual lawsuit against you. A lot of redundancies are placed inside of systems in order for this not to happen. And so what are those redundancies? Name, date of birth.
So it's still like he's thinking it's a mistake. I told you, I really don't believe these are mistakes. I think these are purposeful mistakes, allegedly.
Race, address, social security number. These are redundancy. And so when you check for a person's identification, when you're trying to identify somebody and for whatever reason you have a picture but don't want to use it in your identification process, I don't know why you would do that. But when that happens, you then look at these other factors.
I would think they just wanted to make that arrest. Everything's a go.
To secure identification, to make certain that nothing like this happens. This was bad policing, but I can't imagine that this is the first time lazy investigation took place.
You think?
Typically,
I doubt it.
when we have it revealed to this
I
extent,
literally doubt it. I believe this is practice. This is how we do it. We ain't finna do nothing. We get our hunch. We stick with that. We make conviction. We make arrests. We go through trial. They uphold us in everything we say or do. Allegedly, they don't question us even when we have inconsistencies. So why would we work like that?
it's not a one-off, but it's the one-off that got mentioned. It's the one-off that got
caught.
Media publicity.
That
there are other people that
part.
have probably been impacted adversely due to the lack of prowess for the investigative process.
Yeah.
All right, dear brother, thoughts here?
Wow.
Yeah, I agree. I think that a very fat, winnable lawsuit is on the way. Why wouldn't you press one? 3 days, humiliation of the whole family, and a process that they're
and I
not
bet
gonna forget.
if she said, I didn't do this, the whole time she was telling them she didn't do this is not her, the whole time they was ignoring her. They was bypassing her rights, allegedly. They was doing all types of stuff. People were the family was saying, look, grandma couldn't have did this. She couldn't have did this. And they were saying, yeah, don't do the crime if you can't do the time and all that other BS. People don't listen to you while you're in the current stage of being wrongfully incarcerated, arrested, or anything. But then once they've cleared it up and they've broken it, which is almost impossible, broken the story, overturned the case, which is darn near impossible, then how did this happen? How could this have ever happened? Like, girl, like, I don't know. It's just it's frustrating to know that this is happening to too many people.
Ever. So absolutely, lawsuit, sue, get as much money as you can, but definitely an example
and change
of
the
human
system.
prejudice and bias.
Change the system. Reform now. Like, wave is where.
If they would have just slowed down a little bit, realized that both the names were the same, they could have gotten this correctly. But people are lazy, and so this is especially important for us to have these systems.
Know that also some of these officers that you love because they sit up on the lap of God are lazy too, allegedly. Don't always they're human, right? I'm human. I could make a mistake. They could make a mistake. Don't just give them your unwavering loyalty without the things in the background lining up. Girl.
Checks and balances that actually work, but particularly in law enforcement, because stuff like this can get stretched out bigger than just spending 3 days in prison.
23 years.
People get year-long. People can be in prison for decades over some mishandled paperwork or
definitely
evidence being mishandled or
evidence going missing, because that's the first thing to go, your exculpatory evidence. The surveillance cameras that could have proved Marcello was innocent never admitted into court because it was never pulled. Could have 100% proved his innocence back then. So he is exactly right.
And put to death because of things
like this. So that too. Marcellus Williams. Many spent years on D-Row before being exonerated. Grace of God, he was exonerated. And that was a small, minute chance of that happening. It would have been him. This here in Florida, wrongfully convicted, wrongfully deleted. It can happen. And once they closed that case, her case was still open. Once they closed that case, girl, they put you in that freezer. I told you they zip-locked that bag. They zip-tie that bag, allegedly. And it is hard as jail to get that overturned. But some people do. I would say it's impossible, but some people do. They get those exonerations, but it's not easy. And most Most that are wrongfully incarcerated will not get that. That's why me and my husband are just waiting for his release date. He's just going to have to play out his wrongful conviction. But it's sad, y'all.
Because of things like this. So this is a very good example of why we need more checks and balances and more regulations in law enforcement.
That's right. Well said. And when people mess up, don't keep them on the job.
Oh, they promote them,
Okay.
allegedly. They promote.
We'll bring updates
Girl.
Great reporting, original reporting by Tom Jones, by the way.
Wow.
Kevin, just...
What a video. All right, guys. I will talk to you guys later. Well, tomorrow it's going to be a day at work tomorrow. It's going to be challenging. So I got to get myself rested up. Get to work on time. I already got my gas tonight, because the first thing that usually happens is I say, oh, I'm going to get up early because I got to get gas because I'm on E, because I'm always on E, because I barely got money in my pocket, but I'm going to scrape something together. I'm broke already. Don't get paid till days later. And I'm sorry, I just filled all that extra fluff in there. But usually I tell myself I'm going to get gas in the morning on my way to work and forget. And I barely have time to get to work, and I'll be almost late. And then that just causes so much more anxiety. So I already got my gas. I'm going to go watch the last 2 episodes of She the People, which is now Miss Governor. I'm going to journal and get ready for tomorrow. Oh, and I already got my uniform washed. Y'all just don't know. I usually be running out the door and don't even have time to dry my uniform. My uniform be wet. And I'll be running out the door, throwing on my wet uniform. Like, girl. All right, guys. Talk to you later. It's your girl, Cadillac.